Good morning. So today we're not going to do anything new. We're just going to kind of review what we've been working on, which is our determining if things have a direct variation or if they have a proportional relationship. So I'm assigning this homework assignment that you're seeing right here. In this homework, I'm going to go through a couple of problems because I noticed I went through everyone's homework, so feel free to go back. I commented on any problems that were wrong. Just to kind of give you a heads up of what you were supposed to do versus how you were doing. Most of you did very well. There were just a couple of things, whether it was leaving off an equation or things like that. So take a look, but this is directly correlated to what we've been doing the last 2 days. And so this is going to be our last day on direct variation. So I do want you to make sure that you ask for help if you need it. But so we have different types of problems, and so we're going to go ahead and do a couple of them. So for this first set, what we're supposed to do, it says determine if the values in the table represent a direct variation. If yes, identify the constant of variation. And then write an equation to represent the relationship. So I have 3 things here. I have to determine if there's a direct variation. I have to identify the constant of variation if it's yes, and I need to write an equation. So here we go. How do I determine if it's a direct variation? Well, I picked 2 points. I'm going to pick 9 over 3 and 12 over 4. Notice that I'm putting my y on top. This was a problem. Put our y on top and our x on bottom. So if I do 9/3, is that equal to 12/4? And you would say yes, because they are both equal to 3. So because they are both equal to 3, my constant of variation, so my k, remember how we had that equation with k? My k is 3. So that gives me, yes, it's a direct variation. My constant of variation is 3. And my equation would be y equals 3x. And then I've solved it. So those are my 3 answers. Yes, constant, equation. Okay. Now, if the answer is no, all I have to write is no. Okay. All right, let's look on. Let's look at these. This is the exact same thing. Just know that what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be making our left side x and your right side y. Okay, for those 3, because they don't say x and y, they're giving it a real life scenario. All right, so our next set of problems say determine if the equation represents a direct variation. If yes, identify the constant of variation. So I have 2 things it's asking me. Is it a direct variation? And if I say yes, what's the constant of variation? So I know things are a direct variation when I'm looking at an equation if it shows me y equals, or k, let me use my eraser. If it shows me y equals kx. So I can go ahead and I can do a couple with you here. I mean, I'm looking at number 10 right now, and it has y equals 2x minus 3. It has too many things. The answer's no. That's it. Number 7 or 11, my answer is yes. And my constant of variation is negative 7/4. And then, so what for problems that aren't so nice and neat like this, for example, for number 14, or not 14, I think you'd be fine with. Let's look at number 13, okay? Number 13, I would multiply 7 to both sides, right? To get my y alone. And so it'd be y equals 7x. Well, that's a direct variation. So the answer is yes here. And my constant of variation is 7. Okay. So these are some types of things that you're doing here. You just want to see if you can get it into the y equals kx by manipulating it, by moving x to the other side, seeing what you can do. All right. A few more types of problems. So we have these where we have graphs. Love graphs. They're actually a lot easier to tell if it is a direct variation or not. For this one, it says determine if it's a direct variation. If yes, identify the constant of variation and write an equation. So again, if the answer is yes, I have 3 answers there. So I'm going to say yes. What's my constant of variation, which is my slope? And what does my equation look like? Y equals kx. Okay. Remember, you're looking at 2 things for the graphs. Is it a straight line? And does it go through the origin? That tells you your yes or your no. Okay. Last types of problems are these word problems. I do want to do a couple with you just to kind of show you a little bit. So let's look at number 22 here. It says, and I'm going to switch to a highlighter. There we go. Hannah's pay varies directly to the number of hours she works. Right there. Hannah's pay varies directly to the number of hours. That tells you very quickly that your y is the pay and your x is the hours. Okay? It'll always say it in that order. Y varies directly to x. Okay. The next thing it asks is it says if she made $23, so she made $23 for $231 for 28 hours of work. That's my rate. So for my rate, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 231 for 28 hours, and I'm going to make that into my rate. 231 over 28. Okay, which ends up being $8.25 per hour. 20 per hour. And I figured that out by simply doing division. Okay, so then it says identify the constant of variation. My constant of variation is that. And write an equation with the relationship. So that just means that I'm writing it out. So y equals 8.25 x. And then I'm done. So when you see these word problems, don't freak out. First thing you want to do is you want to create your, what is your y, what is your x, and you're going to see that because in the problem, it'll say something varies directly to another. And it will always be y varies directly to x, okay? It will then always give you a rate, so some point, like the 231 for 28 hours, and that's how you figure out your constant rate by using division, okay? Once I'm there, sometimes it'll give me, okay, so now plug in, how much would she make in 30 hours? And I would plug in 30. Or maybe it would say, how many hours does she work if she gets paid $500? And so at that point, what you'll have to decide is the problem giving me an x value or is it a y value? And you'll know because it'll either say money, which would go the y, or it'll say hours, which would be your x. All right, so I'm going to give this this worksheet, this two-page worksheet is going to be homework. I am only going to have you do, let's say we want to do odds. So I already did some for you. So make sure you write those answers down. It'll let me know if you, A, watched the video, or B, did the problems. Okay, so you're going to have to do odds for this. All right, have a good day, guys.